Hello and welcome to my presentation for Module 4, Activity 6. So I wanted to focus on the learning concept when it comes to writing, specifically writing extended compositions and how metacognition plays its role in this. One of the main concepts that many of my students struggle with is this writing their extended compositions with supporting evidence. This concept requires students to use their metacognitive skills to help them create various compositions without making them sound the same. Students often find it difficult to write because a prompt is never the same twice. A concept like this forces students to constantly think of different ways to describe different topics while making them sound interesting to the reader and making sure they are following their conventional rules. For this reason, students need to understand how their own thoughts and feelings are being processed, meaning they need to be aware of their metacognitive skills. Metacognition helps the students self regulate and form a better understanding of their prompts and writing by knowing how they think and work best. It was mentioned in Chapter 10 how Winnie's model organizes one's self regulation, and I found it best to use some of those concepts to explain how metacognition plays a role in writing. If one were to use this model, the student's metacognitive skills would help the student use their thinking process to perform tasks like monitoring, assembling, rehearsing, and translating. So the way I have it on my screen to explain how metacognition plays its role in writing is starting off with the define portion. So here, students have to define what the prompt is asking. Here, metacognition begins because they need to use prior knowledge to help understand, well, is the prompt asking for an informational piece? Is it asking for a more fictional or narrative type of writing? For that, students need to dig into their prior knowledge to know, well, what keywords are in this prompt that help me identify the task they're asking me to fulfill. The next step in their writing would be their planning, another metacognitive skill. So students use their prior knowledge to pick a strategy to help form writing. In this case, they need to decide either to use strategies like extended constructed response or short constructed response or race or racer style of response that helps organize their writing. Regardless of which strategy they pick, they are digging into their prior knowledge to decide what strategy best fits this writing task. For that, they're going through their thinking process, deciding, all right, what is going on here, what needs to be answered, what needs to be included. After that planning stage, they are led to their strategy phase. This is where students uses their chosen strategy to begin writing to fulfill the given task. So again, for this, they're using cognitive and metacognitive strategies to follow a plan based on the strategy that they had picked during their planning process. After this, they move on to their self-evaluating process. So this is when students review work to make any adjustments if needed. This is that self-monitoring that was mentioned in the Winnie's model. Students have to go back and either make adjustments in whether they went off track with their writing or they didn't fulfill what the prompt was asking them. So they are constantly having to make adjustments in their writing, meaning metacognition is always taking place. Their writing is never going to be perfect because they are making these adjustments as they go along. And finally, they are left with the self-monitoring aspect. This is already, their writing has finished, but they are now using this time to kind of take stock of what they were using throughout their writing process. In this case, students reviews their work and makes adjustments to their understanding for future writings. So this is where they have to start thinking of what's going to go into their long-term memory, which is either adding a new strategy or adding a new experience that they can later pull from their prior knowledge using their metacognitive skills to help them in future writings. So this is how I view how metacognitive skills are applied in writing, because students are constantly having to either go back to past experiences to help them form new learning strategies, help adapt their thinking process and their writing process. So I personally think that writing is a very complex thing, similar to one developing their metacognitive skills. And that's why I wanted to focus on this as my given assignment. Because in the end, their metacognitive skills aid students by helping them adjust to new situations through the support of their prior understanding. In this case, students use their experiences and strategies from past writing assignments to help them create new responses with supporting evidence.